She'll come back begging to be with you. Just do this, modern Stoic. Never beg for a relationship. Be brave to accept the one who really wants to be with you. Unknown. Don't plead. Don't pursue it. Don't justify. She believed she had you mapped out, that you'd wait around, get lost in your thoughts, maybe even try to win her back. But the moment you stop feeding that expectation, everything changes when you step back with calm control, not emotional chaos, the balance resets. And in that stillness, your absence speaks volumes. Here's what most men miss. Neediness is a repellent, but self-respect that draws people in like gravity. The more you try to prove yourself to someone who's already pulled away, the less value they place on your presence. That's why silence, space, and stoic composure are your greatest strengths, not as tools of revenge, but as a reflection of a man who knows his worth. She'll feel it, she'll wonder, she'll remember, and if she returns, it won't be because you chased, it'll be because you stood. 1. Disappear with dignity. Don't beg, don't chase, don't even explain, just vanish, like a whisper in the wind, but with the quiet power of a man who knows exactly what he's worth. When a modern Stoic walks away, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't raise his voice or rattle the cage. He simply chooses himself, and that silent act speaks louder than 1,000 screaming exits ever could. The blessing of Stoicism isn't about being cold, it's about being composed. You're not retreating out of defeat. You're protecting something sacred, your peace, your presence, your power. That's what she'll feel when you're gone. Not relief, but the heavy silence of a man who refused to lower himself to drama. Let's be honest, she probably thought you'd always be there. She stopped appreciating the little things, took your loyalty for granted. Maybe she even disrespected you, chipped away at your value like it was nothing. And in that moment, the old Stoic inside you may stir, wanting to shout, demand an apology, make her see what she lost, but don't. That's weakness disguised as strength. Real power isn't loud. It doesn't need an audience. If someone can't see your value without you having to explain it, then they were never worthy of it in the first place. Don't let your ego bait you into a circus of explanations. Be better. Be the man who simply walks, not away from her, but back to himself. A modern Stoic knows the truth. Closure is a myth for the weak. You don't need her validation. You don't need her to understand your side of the story. You don't need anything but your dignity intact. That's the blessing of Stoicism. It teaches you to let go with grace, not grief. You disappear not to punish, but to preserve. You cut ties not to hurt, but to heal. No cryptic texts, no emotional grand finale. Just a man choosing peace over pride, silence over noise, substance over spectacle. And that's exactly what leaves her breathless in the aftermath. She'll expect anger. She'll prepare for a scene. But when all she gets is silence, that's when your absence will start to echo. That's when regret sets in. So don't slam the door. Don't post vague quotes or throw shade online. Don't play that game. Be still. Be composed. Be the kind of man who disappears so gracefully. She can't stop wondering why. Let your silence haunt her. Let your restraint become the loudest message she's ever heard. Because when you walk away like a modern Stoic, with your soul unshaken and your head high, you don't just leave the room, you leave an impression. And that impression, it lingers. It humbles. It haunts me. You must understand this. The man who chooses peace over proving his point is the man who always wins in the end. The old Stoic within you isn't dead. He's awake, waiting for you to act with purpose, not passion. Disappearing with dignity isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the quiet revolution of the man who no longer needs to be heard because he finally learned to listen to himself. 2. Upgrade in silence. When a man chooses to rise, truly rise, he must do it in silence. Not because he's hiding, but because real transformation doesn't beg for applause. It demands respect when the work is done. There's no need to announce that you're changing. No need to post about your new habits. No dramatic updates to your circle. You simply begin. Quiet mornings replace chaos. Your mind sharpens. Your energy cleans up. You move with purpose, not noise. That is Stoicism in action. It's not about convincing others you've changed. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to explain himself. Epictetus said it best, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. That's the essence of the Stoic life: actions over words, discipline over drama, solitude over spectacle. In a world addicted to attention, your silence becomes a rare power. You don't perform. You don't chase validation. You build day by day, unseen and unstoppable. You must understand this. When you commit to growth, real growth, it gets lonely. People won't notice right away, and they might even doubt you. And that's exactly how it should be. Because when you're doing it for recognition, you've already lost your way. But when you're doing it for yourself, for that inner sense of becoming, then your motivation becomes bulletproof. You start to realize you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You start making decisions that serve your long-term peace, not your short-term ego. You read the books no one sees. You train when no one's watching. You cut off distractions quietly. You say no to comfort. You say yes to becoming iron. All of it. Done not to be seen, but because you're done being weak, reactive, and aimless. That's what Stoic lessons teach us. The power isn't in what you tell the world. It's in what you build behind closed doors. And yes, she might notice eventually. Maybe months from now. Maybe too late. She might wonder what happened, who you've become, and whether she still has a place in your life. But by that point, it won't matter. Not because you're heartless, but because you've outgrown the version of yourself who waited for her approval. You'll realize you didn't do this for her. You did it because the man inside you was tired of being soft, tired of wasting time, tired of falling short. And now, you're sharper, calmer, harder to shake. You didn't disappear. You upgraded. That's the quiet strength of the Stoic life, to grow so deeply, so steadily, that even if no one claps, even if she never returns, you win. So be unrecognizable in 6 months. Let your energy shift before you speak a word. Let your presence say what your voice doesn't need to. Don't brag, don't explain, don't slow down. Build in silence, relentlessly. Because when the time comes, and it always does, they'll notice. The silence will break, and your transformation will speak louder than anything you ever said. And that is when the world, and maybe even she, will realize you didn't just change, you became. If this message resonates with you, like the video, drop a comment, and share it with someone who's leveling up quietly. Don't forget to subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and inner growth. Comment to remember, I grow in silence, powerfully and with purpose. Let's see how many of you are truly becoming without needing to be seen. 3. Protect your energy like it's gold. Your energy is not cheap, it's not casual, it's not for everyone. Your energy is currency, more valuable than gold, more powerful than attention, more limited than time. And just like gold, once given freely to the wrong hands, it loses its worth. So stop giving it away to people who don't return it. Stop explaining yourself to those who twist your words. Stop giving your peace to those who only stir your storms. You must withdraw from chaos and you must retreat from drama, not because you're weak, but because you've mastered restraint. That is the modern Stoic. That is power under control. Marcus Aurelius, the father of Stoic principles, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strength is not loud. Strength is not aggressive. Strength is silent, controlled, strategic. When you walk away from nonsense without reacting, you win. When you no longer argue with people who don't even understand themselves, you win. When you protect your space, your mind, your focus, you become unstoppable. Don't let guilt trick you into over-explaining. Don't let loneliness drag you into toxic cycles. Don't let comfort kill your ambition. If it doesn't reciprocate, release it. If it drains you, cut it off. You are not here to be emotionally bankrupt. You are not here to beg for love, for attention, for peace. You are here to build your kingdom, to protect your peace like a lion guards his pride. Be deliberate, be detached, be disciplined. Stoic men do not chase chaos. They remove themselves from it. They do not beg, they build. They do not talk about power. They embody it. That is your edge. That is your silence. That is your dignity. A man who knows when to walk away commands more respect than a man who fights every battle. Your boundaries are sacred. They don't need justification. They need enforcement. Let your peace speak for you. Let your distance deliver the message. Let your absence become your loudest reply. In this modern world full of noise, distraction, and emotional vampires, your greatest weapon is not noise, it's control. Self-mastery is victory on your power is in your silence, your clarity, your purpose. Not everyone deserves your energy. Not everyone earns your presence. Not everyone can handle your peace, and that's exactly why you must protect it, without apology and without warning and without hesitation. So today, be like Marcus Aurelius. Be a modern Stoic. Practice the Stoic principles that have guided great men for centuries, detached from chaos. Anchor to values that command your mind. Guard your energy. Live by this code, and she won't just regret losing you. She'll be drawn to your power, your presence, your peace. She'll come back, not because you begged, but because you became. Let that be your proof. Let that be your legacy. Then protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. 4. Let her feel the emptiness. Don't rush to fill the void she left. Don't scramble to replace the sound of her voice with noise or distraction. That is not strength. That's fear in disguise. Be still. Let the silence linger like morning fog. It's not about being cold. It's about being calm. A man grounded in the blessing of Stoicism doesn't chase. He reflects. The old Stoic knew something most modern men have forgotten. Sometimes the loudest message you can send is no message at all. Don't call. Don't text. Don't accidentally show up where she might be. Be present in your own world, not orbiting hers. That stillness, that unexpected calm, becomes a question mark in her mind. Why isn't he falling apart? Why does he seem? Fine, that question, that very absence, becomes the presence she can't ignore. This isn't about revenge. No, you're not withholding love, you're not playing games when you're showing, without shouting, that your sense of worth never depended on her applause. When she left, she expected the fireworks of your desperation. Instead, you gave her the silence of self-respect, and that, my friend, hits harder than 1,000 words ever could. You see, the modern Stoic doesn't panic in the storm. He becomes the lighthouse. Your stillness becomes her reflection. Let her sit with that. Let her wonder. The man who no longer tries to pull her back becomes the man she begins to question losing. And here's the kicker, you're not doing this for her to come back. You're doing it because you have come back to yourself. You've returned to that internal ground no one else can shake. That is the blessing of Stoicism. It doesn't react. It responds with grace and power. You must let the emptiness echo for her. Not out of spite, but out of clarity. Because when you stop clinging, you start commanding. Not through control, but through composure. She will feel the void, and if she has any depth, she will see that the silence doesn't mean you stopped caring. It means you started caring differently. The old Stoic within you has awakened. The man who doesn't crumble, the man who doesn't beg, the man who doesn't chase. He waits, he builds, he becomes more. And that man, the one standing firm in stillness, speaks volumes she cannot ignore. Be the echo, not the plea. Be the peace, not the pursuit. Let her feel what she thought she wanted. That emptiness she created, it becomes a mirror. And in it, she sees what she's lost. Let her feel it, fully, deeply. You're not punishing her. You're showing her what it looks like when a man walks away with dignity and doesn't look back for approval. Don't break the silence. Don't rush the process. Be the modern Stoic. Still, grounded and unshaken, because sometimes silence isn't absent. It's presence redefined. If this message hits home, like the video, share it with a brother who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. Now, comment below to lock it in your mind. Stillness is strength. I don't chase, I rise. 5. Stay unavailable but not bitter. Don't chase, don't plead, don't explain. That time is over. Now, you must understand something that modern Stoics like Marcus Aurelius mastered centuries ago. Power is in restraint. Strength is in silence. The best revenge, then he said, is to be unlike him who performed the injury. You're not playing games. You're not pretending to be distant. You've evolved. You've raised the price of access, not from ego, but from clarity. That is, clarity born from pain, reflection, and self-respect. You've stopped handing over your energy to people who treated it like it was nothing. You've stopped letting someone rent space in your mind for free. Why? Because now you live by Stoic principles. And one of those principles is this: what you allow is what will continue. So you stop allowing disrespect. You stop tolerating half love, half effort, half truths. Not to hurt her, not to punish anyone, but to protect what you've built, your mind, your peace, your purpose. Let her wonder where that desperate man went. Let her feel the gravity of your absence. Don't explain it. Don't make speeches. Let silence do the work. Make your absence louder than your presence ever was. Because Stoicism isn't about emotionlessness. It's about emotional mastery. You feel everything, but you don't let it control you. You let go without bitterness. You detach with dignity. Because bitterness doesn't hurt her, it corrodes you. It eats away at your peace. So you rise above it. You choose better, not bitter. You stand firm in your solitude. You stand tall in your decision. You stand stoic, a fortress of self-control in a world begging for attention. And this is the key: you stop being available, but never become spiteful. She doesn't get the same access because you're not the same man. That's not punishment. That's evolution. You've become a mountain, not a storm chasing validation, not a wind twisting for attention. A mountain, still strong, unmoved. If she comes back, she must climb. She must rise. She must earn what once was given too freely. You are no longer a man she remembers. You are the man she now must respect. You have rebuilt yourself by Stoic principles, brick by brick, Failure by failure, choice by choice. You stopped reacting and started responding. You no longer prove your worth when you embody it. You command it. You radiate it. Let her feel the weight of what she lost. Let her see the man she couldn't destroy because he didn't rely on her to be whole. She left, and you built it. She doubted, and you focused. She expected your ruin, but you chose discipline. Victory is not always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet refusal to break, the steady commitment to self-respect, the unwavering grip on purpose. That is power. That is mastery. That is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." So don't be bitter. Be better. Don't wait. Rise. Don't chase. Lead. Let your growth be your message. Let your progress be your reply. Let your peace be your revenge. That is how the modern Stoic lives. That is how you reclaim your edge. That is how she'll come back, not to the man she knew, but to the man she never saw coming. 6. Level up your environment. Be honest. When you walk into your room, does it feel like the space of a man with direction or a man stuck in rewind? That mess in the corner, those dusty reminders of someday projects, the echoes of her old perfume. It all talks. Loudly. And what it's saying isn't helping you rise. So here's your first Stoic lesson. Your environment is a mirror. And if you don't like what you see, don't blame the mirror. Change what it reflects. You want her to feel the shift when she walks in. Fine. But you have to feel it first. That means your space has to evolve with your standards. Clean out the physical clutter. Yes. Toss the old shirts and ditch the couch that's been slouching more than you have. But don't stop there. Clear out the emotional junk too, the resentment, the what-ifs, the imaginary conversations you keep having with her at 2 a.m. Don't be the man who hoards pain in emotional closets. Be the man who opens windows and lets fresh air back into his life. Let's break this down like a real Stoic. Marcus Aurelius didn't conquer his inner demons by lounging in a space that screamed, "I gave up." He understood that a disciplined environment feeds a disciplined mind. That's Stoicism, not some cold, unfeeling doctrine, but a clear, practiced mindset rooted in awareness and ownership. That pile of dishes, it's not just a mess, it's momentum in reverse. That old circle of friends still stuck in their high school drama. That's your reflection too. Upgrade, not to impress her, not to get attention. Upgrade because you're not staying the same man. Be ruthless with your space. Be deliberate with your circle. Be intentional with your habits. That's not just life advice. That's Stoic life. You don't have to throw out your entire past. Just the parts of it that keep you from your future. Keep what build. Burn what breaks. Burn what. Replace cheap distractions with quiet power. A better desk. More books. Less noise. Swap meaningless scrolling for mindful growth. Trade gossip for meaningful conversations. Choose depth over drama. Because here's the truth: when your surroundings rise, you rise. When your habits sharpen, your edge return. When your room breathes, so does your mind. That's how you begin living above your circumstances instead of under them. And when, or if, she returns, she won't find the man who waited. She'll find the man who leveled up. The man who built a new atmosphere so full of purpose, peace, and presence that her old tactics won't even land anymore. That's not revenge. That's a revolution. Don't underestimate the power of small changes. A cleaned desk becomes a clearer head. A switched-off phone becomes a stronger will. A stronger will becomes unstoppable momentum. This is how Stoicism works, through deliberate action. one controlled choice at a time. Your space becomes your sanctuary. Your circle becomes your army. Your habits become your legacy. So level up. Be the man whose environment speaks before he does. Be the man whose space doesn't whisper desperation but roars with dignity. Be the man who lives the Stoic life not to impress others but to honor himself. Let the world adjust to the man you're becoming, not the man she left behind. And if you feel this shift happening, drop a comment right now. My environment reflects my evolution. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remember, you don't change for her, you change for you. 7. Let go of needing closure. Don't beg for explanations. Don't sit in the shadows waiting for her to turn around and hand you a script explaining why she vanished. She left. That is your answer. A modern Stoic doesn't need neatly packaged endings wrapped in tearful apologies. He understands that life isn't a romantic drama where every chapter concludes with a satisfying moral. Be wiser. Be bolder. The truth is, closure is a myth sold to men who haven't yet learned how to stand alone. It's not her job to mend what she broke. It's yours to decide you're already whole. The blessing of Stoicism teaches us that control begins and ends within our own minds, not in hers, not in her words, and certainly not in her exit. Let go, not to forget, but to finally stop bleeding over a wound she never intended to heal. Seneca, the old Stoic master of fire-tested wisdom, warned us long ago, he who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than necessary. And oh, how we suffer, endlessly replaying the past like a broken record, hunting for clues, asking why, when, what did I miss? But that's not strength, that's self-torture dressed as romantic persistence. Don't fall for it. Burn that script. Write a new one. You don't need her reasons to rebuild your life. You need to resolve. You don't need her return to feel chosen again. You need to choose yourself. With the quiet force of a man who understands that becoming your own closure is the ultimate act of power. You must embrace what the modern Stoic knows deep in his bones when you no longer chase what hurt you. You free your hands to build what heals you. That's not just moving on. That's rising. Stop searching for endings from people who had no intention of staying for the whole story. Stand tall in the middle of the wreckage. Not as the victim of her silence, but as the old Stoic reborn, forged by pain, unshaken by the storm, and ready for the next chapter with eyes wide open and heart firmly guarded. Letting go isn't a weakness. It's the steel-backed decision to stop asking for scraps and start owning your worth. Remember this: a man who needs nothing from the past owns everything about his future. That's the blessing of Stoicism. Be that man. Be the closure. Be calm in the chaos. She may come back. They often do, but by then you won't be waiting. You'll be walking, head high, a man of discipline, direction, and dignity. That is power. That is peace. That is the modern Stoic. 8. Build an aura of calm power. Don't flinch. Don't explain, and for the love of all that is masculine and sacred, don't react. When she pokes, when she prods, when she sends those subtle jabs to check if you're still on the hook, be the man who doesn't budge. That is not a weakness. That is dominance through discipline. That is the essence of the Stoic life. She may try to trigger emotion, to see if you're still wounded, still waiting. And when she does, remain still, not cold, not bitter, but composed, solid, because your power isn't in shouting louder or posting cryptic quotes online. Your power is in silence that commands attention. Your strength is in being unshaken when most men would break. That's what separates you, the modern Stoic, from the rest of the noise. Marcus Aurelius, a man who led armies and empires while waging wars inside his own mind, once said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Read that again. Your peace isn't determined by her actions. It's shaped by your interpretation of those actions. She left. That's not devastation. That's an opportunity. She ghosted you. That's not rejection, that's redirection. Don't let her emotional weather dictate your climate. Your Stoic lessons have taught you to detach from the chaos and connect to the calm within. That is your true source of strength. You must understand this. Real masculine power is not about being loud or controlling others. It's about mastering yourself so completely that nothing external can shake your internal state. That kind of man, he doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He doesn't even need to speak. His presence does the work. His aura of calm tells the world, I know who I am. I don't need validation. I do not entertain drama. And that's exactly what draws people. Yes, even her, back into your orbit. Because calm is magnetic. Controlled energy is irresistible. The man who exudes peace in chaos stands out in a world addicted to noise. So, don't underestimate the power of silence. Don't mistake non-reaction for passivity. In the Stoic life, calm is a weapon, and self-control is armor. Let her wonder why you're not crumbling. Let her feel your absence, not as a passive withdrawal, but as a quiet declaration that you've moved beyond needing her approval. She'll notice, she'll test, and when she does, don't blink. Just keep walking with that slow, steady stride of a man who's mastered his emotions and reclaimed his dignity. That's the real revenge, not rage, not games, but growth. Remember, quiet strength is the loudest presence in any room. When you embody it, people take notice, women take notice. And if she ever circles back, if she ever returns to see if the man she left is still the same, let her meet someone new, someone stronger, someone stoic. That's how you win. That's the stoicism that reshapes your life, one unshaken moment at a time. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching, you're transforming. You understand now that real strength doesn't shout, it doesn't chase, it commands through calm. When the world or she tries to shake you, your silence becomes your shield, your composure, your power. That's the mark of a man on the path of Stoic life. Comment below, I choose calm over chaos. I am becoming the quiet power. Say it. Claim it. Let the world and yourself know who you're becoming. 9. Show her you've outgrown her old version. Show her you've outgrown her old version. Stand as the evolved man you are. Refuse to grovel. Refuse to plead. Instead, embrace the resolute, modern Stoic within you and let your transformation speak louder than any words ever could. When she sees the man you have become, a man who has taken command of his life, who no longer seeks approval but commands respect with every decisive action, she will understand that the version she once knew is a relic of the past. You must act with unyielding certainty, with the iron resolve of Marcus Aurelius and the enduring wisdom of Stoic principles that have shaped the lives of emperors and common men alike. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius said, a reminder that your internal evolution is far more potent than any external plea or promise. Stand firm, for the man you are now is forged in the fires of discipline and experience, embodying the modern Stoic mindset that turns hardships into triumphs and challenges into stepping stones. Do not cower in silence or drown in self-doubt. Assert your newfound identity with every breath you take. You are more than you were yesterday, a testament to the enduring Stoic legacy that champions self-improvement and fearless authenticity. Your silence now roars with the echoes of change. Every quiet moment is laden with the power of Stoic resolve, a silent announcement that the days of striving to be seen are over because now you see yourself with clarity and purpose. This is your turning point, your moment of victory over the old habits and outdated versions of your past self. When you hold your head high and tread confidently on a path guided by Stoic principles, you command the narrative of your own life. You must be the embodiment of relentless progress, a living example of what it means to evolve. Drawing upon the timeless wisdom of Epictetus, who declared, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This is not a call for meek submission, but a mandate to become formidable, to let your Stoic spirit shine so brightly that any trace of the man who once begged for acceptance dissolves into insignificance. Each moment that you rise above the trivialities of a past defined by neediness. Each instance where you embrace the grandeur of self-mastery, you carve out a legacy of honor and strength. Understand that this evolution is not merely an aesthetic change, but a fundamental shift in the very fiber of your being, as inevitable as the morning sun rising over a disciplined horizon. Take charge now. Let the truth of your transformation be felt in every decisive stride. Embrace the art of being unapologetically yourself, and let every action, every silent demeanor, every resolute glance be a declaration of your worth. Let your heart beat with the cadence of valor and your mind be a fortress of Stoic insights, echoing the relentless convictions of Marcus Aurelius, who reminded us that obstacles are the catalysts for progress. Do not entertain any doubt or hesitation. Instead, march forward with the certainty that you are not only reclaiming what was lost, but surpassing it in every conceivable way. Your transformation is the blueprint of modern Stoic living, an embodiment of Stoic principles that have been celebrated and revered throughout the ages. Now is the time to be powerful. Now is the time to master life. Stand tall, be decisive, and let the world witness the undeniable truth that when a man evolves beyond his past, he reclaims his destiny with unmatched strength and honor, leaving behind the shadows of yesterday and stepping into the brilliant light of a victorious tomorrow. 10. Let her chase the man you've become. Don't chase her. Don't explain. Don't beg. Be silent. Be still. Be the man who no longer waits. The moment you stopped trying to win her back was the moment she started noticing you again. You're not in that race anymore. You've redirected your energy inward. And that kind of focus is magnetic. You didn't fake strength. You forged it. You stopped performing and started transforming. That's not a strategy. That's the blessing of Stoicism. You chose self-respect over validation, growth over guessing. You've become the modern Stoic, grounded, silent, and absolutely sure of your path. While other men plead, you prepare. She isn't attracted to the man who begged. She's drawn to the man who became untouchable. That shift, it isn't to punish her. It's to protect your peace. You're not being cold. You're being clear. Your presence used to be expected. Now it's earned. Let her feel your absence. Let her wonder. Let her chase, because now you are the reward. You no longer need to prove anything. You don't need her validation. You carry the calm of the old Stoic, a man who walks away not to hurt her, but to heal himself. And in that stillness, she will start to question everything. Who you've become. Why did she leave what she lost? This isn't revenge, this is a revelation. You've become the man who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't follow. You don't speak, you show, you don't wait, you work. That's power, that's presence. That's what draws her back. Not your words, but your silence. Not your need, but your evolution. Let her earn what she once took for granted. Be untouchable. Be unshaken. Be the storm behind the stillness. That's the modern Stoic way. Thanks for watching, my friend. Here's the truth. When you show up as your best self, ungrounded and at peace, you don't chase, you attract. You stop begging to be seen and start walking like someone who knows his worth. So remember this. You are the prize. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Evolve for you, not for validation. The ones who get it will see it, without you needing to perform. If that landed with you, drop a comment below. Let me know what part hit the hardest, or simply write "I choose power over pursuit." And if you're ready for that next level, it's waiting. Take care and walk tall.